I'm Cameron, lead 2D character and background designer, as well as storyboard artist and animatic editor for this project. Early on, I made the decision that the character designs should match the art style that David, our 2D animator, generally uses. I decided this early on as I felt as though the art style that David generally uses was simple, allowing us all to contribute to the design of the characters, while also maintaining a consistent style. I felt that David's art style has a lot of appeal that I think meshed well with the kind of animation we were aiming for. Characters within this animation generally only played bit roles, which meant that often when designing them, I would go with the first design idea I could come up with. The character designs I would produce, along with some contributions from Jack, would be passed along to David, who would occasionally refine the character designs to better fit his style. With the character designs done, as well as some of the background designs, I would begin storyboarding based upon the script, as well as some thumbnail sketches that David and Bobby and Jack provided to me. With much of the storyboard finished, I would begin piecing together the animatic, using both finished frames from the storyboard as well as thumbnail sketches. As the script continued to be refined and more of the animation was completed, I continued to add to the animatic. For our presentation, I took the virtually finished animatic and added as much as I possibly could to it, from finished animations to any material I could scavenge from our Trello. Producing the animatic was a massive learning experience for me, as I don't have a lot of experience in video editing or sound editing. Working on this project has taught me a lot about working with a team, organising a team, background design, character design, video editing, sound editing, and so much more.
My name is David, I'm the lead 2D animator as well as the scriptwriter and voice acting manager. I also did some of the voice acting myself, along with some character designs like the polar bear, some scheduling to keep track of the team. I developed all of the backgrounds and most of the sketches, and I helped with a little bit of storyboarding too. The animation was fairly easy, making sure to ease and follow through to make it like a very smooth and bouncy animation. And one thing I got to experiment in this production was colouring. So for example, I had to use a warm colour palette, and making an underwater scene with a warm colour palette was quite challenging, but I got there eventually. I used a mix of straight ahead animation as well as pose to pose animation for the characters, and I even created mouth rigs for the different characters, so I had some for the polar bears and I had some for the humans as well. I also made some eye rigs for the different characters to help express their emotion and blinks. Voice acting was fairly easy to manage. It's highly unlikely that people will finish their voice lines perfect the very first time, so they would send me their first attempts, I would send feedback back to them, and they would improve and send it back to me. One thing I would like to try if I were to do this project again would be to add little bubbles into the underwater scene. I feel like if that's done well, it would give off a better atmosphere.
3, 2, 1. Hi, so my name is Bobby, and in Team A I was responsible for the creation and development of the 3D scenes that can be found with inside the animation of Foolish Notion. The program that I decided to use when creating these scenes is known as Autodesk Maya. The reason for me choosing this program specifically over any other 3D software out there is because this is the program I am most knowledgeable with, which meant I would be able to get the project out on time and at an outstanding quality. The first thing that I decided to create for this project was the TV character. When designing him, I decided to go for a simplistic but standout look. The reason when I went for a simplistic look is because I had never done something like this before. And what I mean by that is I had never modelled, textured and rigged a character from scratch for an animation, let alone an animation that would be seen by the public. So I wanted to also keep it simple, but also stand out. Another reason I kept it simple was to make sure I hit the deadline on time and didn't go over the top with it. I then moved on to creating the set, and also to stick with a simplistic theme. I stuck with a simplistic theme for this, the reason being is I wanted the set and the character to match and not obstruct each other. The colour palette that I went for when creating the set is a sort of neutral colour. The reason for this being is I didn't want it to catch the attention of the viewers and to distract from the main attraction going on in the 3D scenes, which is the water and the TV character progressively getting worse. However, I did add one part to the 3D scenes, which was the time to extinction calendar, and I would say this was one of my favourite parts of the 3D scenes, because if a viewer noticed it, they would notice that it is a warning that the world is coming to an end slowly and it would all be over soon. I would say when looking at this project, it's probably the biggest project that I have worked on, and it's definitely been the hardest one to complete, but has also been the most rewarding and most fun.
My name is Jack Odges, and I'm one of the 2D animators, script writers, character designers, storyboarders, and lead editor of Team A's A Foolish Notion. I feel as though in this project I've been able to improve upon my current skills, be that of 2D animation, use of 2D software, script writing, character design, storyboarding, and working better with a team. I would say one of the things that I've been most excited about throughout this whole project is being able to work with a team that I know we can create something amazing and something that we're all going to be proud of in the future. Another thing that I think I've been able to improve with in this project would be my use of 2D animation, especially that of rotoscoping. I feel as though my use of rotoscoping in this project has really pushed me to start wanting to animate more in my spare time, get used to 2D a bit more, and hopefully figure out what I'd like to do in the future more with it. I would say if I could do anything better next time I do a group project, would definitely be to have better time management skills. Throughout this project, I've not had the most time I've needed, and I've pushed back the deadline as far as it would go for me, to the point where I regret doing so, and I don't feel I'll be able to put out the most quality thing that I believe I could. Overall, I've really enjoyed my time in my group, and especially our project. I hope to be able to do something like this again in the future.